I hate to break the fishing news up, Yaremchuk, but I'd like to speak about the ice hockey.
Congratulations, you're one of the 13 listeners of the Real Life Podcast.
We just traded a migraine in for like an orgasm.
Might want to mark that down, Yaremchuk.
Yep. All of my projects are on schedule until they're not.
A member of the Nation Network of Podcasts.
About as funny as we're going to get today.
Episode 270 of the Real Life Podcast. I'm Tyler Yaremchuk. Jace here. Chalmers is here. An exciting episode coming up. We're going to have a couple of guests hopping by to chat a little bit. Obviously going to talk a little bit of Oilers as well. Episode 270 is brought to you by Oodle Noodle, 14 locations in Edmonton. I had Oodle Noodle this weekend. It was absolutely fantastic. And that's now, Oodle Noodle has now become like the birthday meal with me and my girlfriend. It's someone's birthday, you get Oodle Noodle. That's just the way it works. Anyways, that's my Oodle Noodle ad read. Well, no, I have it more than twice a year, but it's like I look forward to it on special occasions. That's the regard I hold it in.
What do you do for part cakes? Of that? What do you do for dessert?
Green onion cake.
No, get out of here.
Well done.
I'm not actually a big dessert guy.
Happy birthday to your wife, Mrs. Yaremchuk.
Yes, and also happy birthday to my dad. It was his birthday on the weekend as well.
Oh, and happy birthday, Bag Milk, who is not here today, who celebrated on Saturday. It's birthday alley, the beginning of April.
Bag Milk, I'm sure, got nice and drunk for his birthday. In fact, I know he did.
How do you know? What did he do? Did he message you late night?
No, he didn't. But he tweeted that like he got very drunk. So he admitted to it.
Only a drunk person would do that.
Yeah, exactly. All right. There's a couple things I wanted to touch on because we have a few minutes until we get to our first guest. And it's an interesting idea if you like going to Oilers games, if you're interested in like season tickets and all that, that's what I'll say about the upcoming guest. But it was a long weekend. The weather was pretty good as well. Wanye, what's up? I can always rely on you.
How much, buddy? Just chilling. Wishing there was Oilers Canucks hockey, but obviously, given the state of the world, I understand that this is not a time for sports.
So, what's happening with the Canucks? I've heard it's double digits.
It's over 20 now.
Somebody said that their season could be like finished. Man, is that actually possible?
Hard to say, man. Like it depends on the impact it has, right?
Have you guys talked about any of that on your at your real job, Yaremchuk?
Well, like today on the DFO rundown, they had it was Saravalli, Gregor, then LeBrun and Dreger. So it was like a whole insider thing going on. And they started the podcast talking about exactly that. And the NHL still, according to LeBrun, the way he made it sound is the league still thinks the Canucks are going to play 56 games this season. And as of now, the Canucks still think the Canucks are going to play 56 games this season. But you need to be careful. And this is so much bigger than hockey because you have players getting very sick. You have family members getting it, like all that stuff.
So like who's sick? Do we know actually who has gotten ill?
There's
easier to find out who now isn't.
Yeah, because they have over 20 positive tests of the variant.
But did they differentiate between like who has no symptoms but tested positive and who's actually ill?
No, we don't know that.
Yeah, that
because the Canucks haven't tweeted in 3 days as of this show.
Because aside from like putting players on the COVID list, like there's nothing they can do, right?
Well, wouldn't you think that like they'd want to put out some good news and get control of the narrative?
I don't know if there is good news to put out.
There's still like as of like last night, still positive tests are coming in. So I think once they kind of know where they're at, I think probably you'll start hearing about them because there is some players that are saying they're sick. There's some players that. And this is just like it's all hearsay or like it's like Brent Sutter talking to his son and his son saying what he's feeling. Like it's kind of coming like that's how the news about the players is coming.
Whoa,
out.
what's that? What was that? What was that part?
What?
About Sutter's kid? What is that?
Oh, yes. No. Well, yeah, he's feeling some symptoms. I see. And his dad was talking about it. Yeah. So that's how like information is coming out. No one's.
Gotcha.
Obviously, the team's going to be respective and all that.
Here's a question for you. So we so far as a team have only been postponed 3 games to the Montreal Canadiens up to this date. And we played the Canadiens
one
tonight.
Vancouver Canuck game, Chris.
Well, 2 come. Yeah, 1. So okay.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
I'm an insider too. Yaremchuk. I know everything.
Yep.
So they're playing the Canadiens tonight. I'm guessing that was a already league scheduled game. This isn't a makeup game.
This isn't not a makeup. No.
Have they done any, like, I know in the other conferences, they're behind some games. Have they done any makeup games in any of the conferences so far?
Yeah. So
Okay,
when Edmonton played in Montreal last week, that was the first makeup game, and the other two are going at the end of the schedule.
Okay.
And then like Montreal, I think, has a game to make up against Ottawa at some point as well. But they
like
have
all they're really going to need to do is just tack an extra week onto the regular season there, 10 days to just finish off the games, right?
They can't because of the Olympics. They need to be done the playoffs by the Olympics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why it's an issue.
Those are happening?
Well, okay, now we're in a whole nother debate. But the thing that is interesting about the Canucks situation specifically, and looping this back to hockey, is that like they're pretty much out of the playoff race. So if there was a team who you're going to say, we're pulling the plug, like there's too many players sick, we don't want to take any more risks with you guys, like,
but can't they fuck over a lot of teams in the playoff race?
But the North is settled. Like no one's moving out of a playoff spot in the North Division. Like Calgary's not catching
Now just hold
anyone.
on, just hold on.
But
Does that mean
seeding,
we're in the playoffs?
Oh yeah.
Does that mean we're making the dance?
Yeah, it's pretty much locked
So
up.
all it took was a pandemic and we made the playoffs 2 years in a row?
Yeah.
Easy.
What?
Easy peasy.
Let's just hope they don't do the same thing they did last year.
Yeah, no kidding. Well,
make the playoffs.
there'll be no play-in round in this coming year, so that'll maybe help a little bit or ease the sting.
Listen, that one victory over the Chicago Blackhawks is the highlight of my 2020, 2021, except for having a kid.
Yeah, there was that.
But it's a tight one between the two. That was a pretty big win.
Huge win.
Yeah, that playing series sucked. But anyways, the North is pretty much locked up.
I don't even remember it. That's how bad it was.
Oh.
The North is pretty much locked up. So if they wanted to take Vancouver and be like, you guys, we're sorry, you can play like 10 games at the end of the year, but we're sitting you guys for 3 weeks, which honestly might end up being what needs to happen here. And that's it. That could be just the way they have to do it. I don't know. It sucks, but it almost makes me look back to like the first, 2.5 months of the season when the North Division had like no COVID complications. And we all kind of sat there and went like, look how good we're doing up in Canada. Like maybe we actually just got real lucky for 2.5 months.
Yeah. Now we have the worst team in our division to have an outbreak.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like the disaster movies when the meteor hits and they show like everything exploding or whatever. And there's like some guy still at work with a filing cabinet open. He's trying to get paperwork done when the world ends. It's kind of how I feel. Like, what about the Canucks season? Believe me, that's the least of your concerns.
Wanye, did you just recently watch Unacknowledged?
What's that?
Oh,
is it the Bob Lazar documentary?
No, I don't know who Bob Lazar is. Unacknowledged.
Of course you don't. Wink.
Unacknowledged is a documentary on it's on Prime, Amazon Prime. I don't know, Prime, whatever
UFOs
they call it. Yeah, dude. It's
I saw
insanity. It. Yeah. It's so good. Anyways.
Oh yeah. At this point, if you're still not believing in the UFOs, you're living under a rock.
Yeah, totally.
Yaremchuk, do you live under a rock?
No, quite the opposite of a rock. I believe I would be, I'm above ground because I'm on the second floor.
You believe in UFOs?
You're a hero.
Do I see? And now that's a complicated question. Like,
it's not. It really isn't.
The cosmos and declaring it empty.
Do I believe that there have been UFO sightings? No. Does that mean
what?
Wait, whoa. Does that mean I don't believe in like more life out there? Also, no. I just don't think humans are seeing this shit. I think it's all going on a level we cannot even see with our eyes or comprehend. No one is seeing a flying spaceship through the sky. That to me, that's not happening.
Interesting.
But like, I don't know. It's a whole debate. It's something it's something I talk about when I'm like shit-faced around a fire at 2 a.m. with my friends. It's not.
We should pin him down for an episode on this because clearly he's uncomfortable about it.
It does make me uncomfortable.
That, like if you had an ant talking to a crow, like no, but they're both life forms, but they're probably not aware of one another.
Exactly.
Maybe you just haven't heard enough people who really don't seem like they're crazy talking about it.
Like the former Minister of Defense, Chalmers?
Yeah. You need to watch this thing, Yaremchuk.
Yeah.
And then come in and we'll talk about it. We won't talk about it. You know what? I also check out when people talk about weird things like their fantasy baseball teams and shit. And I know I usually check out when other people start talking about whether or not they believe in extraterrestrials, because it's like, oh man, like this is just, I'm not into
Basically,
it.
what you're saying is
But-
most of the time you're on this podcast, you're not listening.
A lot of time, man.
Interesting.
I don't suffer stuff I don't give a shit very well. Like,
Well, it is an hour
so-
a week or two of your time. I can understand why.
no, you should see how I am in real life then. Like
This
legit.
is real life. It's called real life.
But outside of this with other people in their conversations.
That's
Anyways,
not real life.
just watch the show and then watch Yellowstone. Oh my God.
oh
Watch
my
those.
God.
Unacknowledged on Optimus Prime.
All right.
Yes.
We have a trio of special guests joining us on the podcast. So I want to get to this because I see 3 people in the waiting room. It's a cool little initiative that started over at NAIT. So we are going to welcome in Rial LaFrance, Catherine McDougall, and Nikki Curl.
I'm going to jump in here real quick and
Yep.
kind of set the table, if you will. So I saw an article last Oilers game day about these cats, and they won a NAIT Innovation Challenge. And I'm an alum, NAIT. Yaremchuk, you went to NAIT.
Same here. Go Ooks.
Well, I know that. Why are you so surprised that I know this?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, anyways, we'll celebrate our NAIT. Chalmers also went to NAIT.
And
Me
my
him
wife.
went to NAIT together. Yeah, Aaron Chalmers, NAIT grad. So huge NAIT connection. Wanye is smarter than all of us and went to U of A, and that's okay.
Totally.
But I thought it was cool, and they were doing something around innovation around sports and around tickets towards sporting events, and even more so to break it down even more granular. They want to take a swing at doing something around Oilers games. So us being Oilers Nation. Us being NAIT grads, I feel like the synergies here are immense. So I thought it'd be cool to have the trio on here to kind of tell us about what it is. What did you pitch? What did you win? And what are the next steps?
Go, Catherine.
So our idea is to split up season tickets into fractional tickets, so 4-way split. So then people can either have a quarter or a half or 3/4 of a season ticket instead of committing to a full season ticket. And it's a little different than just splitting up a season ticket with your buddies. This is actually, it's an official fractional ticket. So our idea was to get more fans in the stadium. You know, sometimes people don't want to commit to the whole season, but this way they can have a smaller commitment. And then we also talked about doing this with different sports. So that also helps bring fans to the different sports teams in Edmonton as well.
So basically, if I'm understanding the idea correct, someone could go to your service and say, hey, I want 15 games of an Oilers season, or whatever it'd be, 10 1/4 games of an Oilers season. And would they get to pick their games? Is it like pre-set out packages? Like, how does that side of it kind of work?
So we've been looking at how to sort it up. We looked at the Oilers 17-18 season, and we started just splitting it up randomly, but then also adjusting it to make sure everyone got a fair split of weekends and rival games and stuff like that. So it'd probably be a preset games that are made the most fair.
And tell us a little bit about the competition that you won.
So the Innovation Challenge at NAIT, this is the 4th year that they've been doing it. And the idea is that you get your teams together and submit your team, and then they send out an idea. So this year, the idea was to innovate the live sporting event. And then you have 10 days to get your idea together and submit a 3-minute video. So I think there was 13 teams that submitted videos. And yeah, then we ended up they started announcing the top 4, top 3. We were all sitting around excited together. And then they announced us, and we won the challenge. So we got some sweet Oilers gear, and then we won some cash prizes as well.
So was this just put on by NAIT, or was this was this just a NAIT competition, or who was putting on the competition? Sorry.
I'll take this one. So,
Yeah.
So Raptor Mining Group is a sponsor of the Innovation Challenge, and they've sponsored the last 3 years in a row. And they're very generous. It's a $3,000 cash prize split between the top couple of teams. So I think for us, we ended up splitting $1,500. So we just get $500 to spend on our tuition or whatever we want to do with it. But really, we're kind of breaking into new territory this year, because the previous challenges were sort of for fun. Like they had innovate plastic bags or rubber bands or toilet paper holders. But this year a chief reached out to his buddy Kevin Lowe and was like, hey, maybe we could work with you guys. And so they've definitely upped the game, right? Like it's a serious problem. Like I think they were looking for more solutions to bring people back from COVID. We really didn't feel qualified to do that. And so we didn't want to even go there. We're like, you know what, this isn't forever. And so maybe
you're like, actually in 10 days, we made a new vaccine for you, Kevin Lowe. And thank you for putting that challenge to us. And we have solved the problem. We'll take our $1,500 and bounce. Thank you.
Seriously, like maybe our innovative solution is a whole new filtration system for the play. Like that didn't seem like something realistic, right? That we could actually address. And so we kind of came around our ideas and we liked the ticketing angle. And we thought, you know, when you're sitting around the campfire with your buddies and you're watching the games, like what are the things you talk about? Like, what is it that you wish you could have? And it's more accessibility. And so we thought it was a good angle to take. But the previous winners haven't made a business. So I was just messaging with Cecile Wentland, who's kind of our sponsor at NAIT that's really helping us out. And she says, no one's made a business yet. So if we succeeded, we'd definitely be breaking some new ground. Another team at NAIT with their idea, they want to pursue their business as well. So
you actually you intend to make this into a business, Nikki?
Well, here's the thing is we have a lot of eyes looking at us and we have people saying we love it that could make a difference. And so let's see what we can negotiate. You know, we're getting ready.
Do the Oilers love it? Do the Oilers say this is something we'd like to work with you on?
You know, they're big talking, like we just hear like, oh, it's great, like blah, 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 like fantastic. But
well, that doesn't sound like the Oilers.
Nothing concrete. We can't either confirm or deny that they love our idea, but in just patting us on the back and saying good job with the competition, we've had some good feedback.
I think it's a very good idea. I think you guys could actually make something from this. Coming off of pandemic, I think every sports team around the world is taking meetings they would normally not take, trying to think of how to like re-energize the game back to where it was, right?
I think one of the challenges that this is addressing is even on the corporate affordability side. You know, I brought into the competition here just a background in you know, corporate culture, and that there was many companies that chose to not renew season tickets coming into the new stadium, and that's unfortunate. And many of them was because of time commitments as well as cost. And so, you know, our hope is the Oilers are on side. I think this just makes a lot of sense. It keeps value for existing season ticket holders as full shares because it keeps tickets off of the secondary market.
Yeah.
First question. Did you voice over the video? Please tell me you did, because that is an incredible voice.
Yeah. Timber. It's got timber.
It does. I mean, that had to have gotten you top 5 just when they heard the voice voicing over the video. But yeah, he's right. I mean, I can't disagree. Like I've known a lot of companies that have spent a lot of money on season tickets, and in the past 10 years, and this year just said, you know what, can't do it. It's just not in the plans. It's not in the budgets. And I know that's going to be a huge problem. When I see your guys' model, I'm really interested in it, because it's not just like, you know, splitting it 3 ways with your aunt and your uncle and then another cousin, right? Then you have to sit down, you have to do this lottery. Nobody gets what they want. Now, in my opinion, there's got to be a way where it's not just the same. There's got to be people out there that can't do weekends, right? Mm-hmm. So they're like a package of all non-weekend games. Maybe that he works out of town all weekend, or she works out of town all weekend. And write it down. Because I see there being like the weekend package, like where it's, you know, a majority of weekends. Obviously that's going to cost a little bit more. People like Friday, Saturday games, but I know myself, like I don't tend to want to on a Tuesday or Thursday at 7:00 in November, want to drive down to Rexall, but on a Friday, I really, really do. And
matinee games, sorry to interrupt you, Chalmers. Matinee games, I wouldn't touch the 10-foot pole because I only like to get busy.
And
whereas people with little kids love matinee games. Wait a minute, I have a kid.
Allocating like a point system to all these different types of tickets could really help in what type of packages you can put together, I think.
Is that what the company does, guys? Is you create that software that allows you to input your preferences and then make payments, or where's the business lie?
So where the business mostly lies currently, I mean, thank you for all the great ideas and the compliment. Welcome. Yeah, and the compliment for my
fucking voice is off.
It's incredible.
Riel does have a good.
Can you
voice.
quickly just before you jump into this,
Seriously.
can you just quickly say
Tyler, record this. Well, I guess you are.
Well, I've been recording the whole thing.
You're listening. You're listening to Nation Real Life.
You're listening to Nation Real Life.
Good. So good. It was like a movie trailer. Fuck this company. You got to do movie trailers.
Okay. Back to complimenting my ideas. Focus, you guys. Go ahead. Back to complimenting my ideas.
So yes, complimenting your ideas, Chris. So first, I want to tell you, like, this may ruin everything because you're talking about my absolute dream job, which is doing voiceover.
Really?
Which I've never done.
You've got the gift.
Yeah, nice. But yeah, I mean, one of the biggest focuses that we would like to, not so sexy part of the business is actually is a possibility of us helping finance through, right? And so, Oilers, they do four-time payments for any of their season tickets. There's no reason why we couldn't balance that out to a once a month payment program. Which is great. The other thing is that we can't forget that people want choice, and I know these different options. So ultimately, we are dividing it up. That's the idea. We're dividing it up. We're managing the system. We're managing the tickets, and we're passing it on to the customers. We're hoping to find the right match. Our initial thoughts were actually create an equal system where each of these packages have an equal share of weekends, an equal share of holiday games, an equal share of weekday games and rivalries, so that when somebody says, hey, I want tickets AB, I want half a share, I want ticket, call it package A and package D, because those sing to me, because I want Boston and
God damn, Montreal. When you said sing to me, that sang to me. You've got a very good voice.
Let him finish.
So yeah, I'm rambling, but yeah, that's the idea.
You're right on point. I'll take 10.
See, it's a way, it's definitely a way to like bury undesirable games too, is to put them with really desirable games. And like I get that, right? I'm not totally sure how it would work, and that's why you guys get to figure it out.
Maybe think about too is factoring in out of town games, right? So like, what's the difference between a mini pack and the services you guys could provide? If you said, we've got a whole bunch of tickets for games in Calgary, we've got tickets for games from Vancouver. If you're a member of our company or something like that, we also have additional things that you can purchase that aren't necessarily available to you. That could work.
If you can't hear scratching of a pencil, I'm writing things down.
I hear a voice that I would lead me off a cliff. I'd go.
It's very interesting because tickets. It's always been one or two ways. You either have season tickets or you buy tickets on Ticketmaster, and that's just it, right? Like there's been no
revolution of ideas.
There hasn't been. And mini packs. I've never really known what mini packs were all about, but I'm sure they're kind of like 4 games. One's going to be really good. 2 are going to be pretty average, and then one's going to be a pretty undesirable game. But
I even think of like a big company that maybe wants to have like the luxury suite that they can bring clients to, being like, well, I'm not going to spend the whatever insane amount of money it is for a full season and then have to deal with like selling them half the time and all this. Like if a big company can go, hey, I want a quarter of games in the luxury suite because I know I have 10 clients I want to take there throughout the year. Like even that I think is like a really interesting area to take this. To wrap this up just quickly, the website is seasonticket.ca. And
damn, that was available?
Yeah.
That's surprising, actually. That's really surprising. Just sort of
before you put a bow on this, I think we got to really isolate kind of the value proposition of this in a box, especially as they're going to kick this off, hopefully for next season, correct?
Definitely. Yeah,
excellent.
For sure.
I think what this does is it allows you the vanity of saying you own season tickets as opposed to a mini pack. But also what I really like about this is the main reason, well, outside of the NAIT connection and all the love and support we have for all that, and the concept here is, I think honestly it can provide value to the community, right? Making season tickets more approachable, more affordable, thinking about ways to finance and stuff so it doesn't hit you as heavy as it can or has in the past. So I think, like the phase 1 value proposition here, I think is really, really awesome. And so that's why when I saw this and heard this, I thought it'd be cool to have you come on and share the story. And I knew Wanya would have good questions. I knew Chalmers would have ideas. So I think this has turned out really great. I think Chalmers has one more idea.
No, my idea is I went to your guys' website, and what they're really asking here is, in order for them to do this perfectly for the majority of the people that want to do this, they have set up basically a survey. After you watch a video, you go and you do a survey. It will help them do their research. I implore people to go to seasonticket.ca and do this survey. It's 5 questions. And that's kind of just what I was going to say. This is perfect for the type of thing that you guys can do your research on.
We're here to help because we are your customers.
We would love to work with you guys.
You have prospects baseball. Like, there's honestly nothing better in the middle of the summer than taking your kids or your friends and sitting and watching a prospects game. Like, not many people do it, and not enough people do it. That's for sure.
We will make advertising available for free to you guys under the NAIT alumni code that I just invented in my head. It's Nation 100 and it's free ads. And really good job, guys. Like, this was once an idea that we had that a lot of people told us was stupid. And now we have a podcast and 8 people listen sometimes. And so we've come a long way. And I think that you guys have a much better idea that can actually make money from day one. And I think the key is getting your hands on the inventory of tickets without having to pay for them. Right. So you want to be a marketplace. You want to set up, you're the intermediary between the people who own all the tickets and the people who want to buy them. But at no point should you be the people buying all the tickets. You're the marketplace. Right.
Yeah.
I literally already submitted mine.
Good job,
That's how easy it is, everybody. Do it.
Open-ended question. What else do you want to tell us? Chris Chalmers is the best. Guess who put that in?
Yeah.
Chris Chalmers.
Feedback. No, anyways.
Come back and talk to us, you guys.
Yeah.
Come back.
We'll
keep us posted.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Pleasure.
Thank you.
There you go. That is the trio from NAIT, who's come up with an interesting idea. Again, if you want more, seasonticket.ca is where you can check things out and fill out that survey. Before we keep moving on, need to give some love to our friends at manscaped.com. The performance package is out now. And if you want it, if you need to do some manscaping, but you want to save some money, you can use the promo code REALLIFE. The peak hygiene plan as well is available on there's the great stuff. But again, that promo code REALLIFE gets you 20% off anything on the site and gets you free shipping as well. Some good packages, some good solo products like the Lawnmower 3.0 on top of that. Promo code REALLIFE, manscaped.com. All right. That was a really interesting chat. Also, I have on my TV here, I have the Blue Jays game on, and I'm watching the field in Texas. They're playing the Rangers right now. The stadium is packed, like sold out.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Texas is wide open.
Does it feel different watching it like that?
It feels like so weird. Like even like the sun being in on the ball game and then seeing that many faces in the crowd, like it should feel like I thought it would feel like normal and like heartwarming, but it feels like weird and not right to me. Very odd.
Yeah.
Very odd that they're, I mean, Texas, I think they're the only, I know they are the only team in the States for Major League Baseball playing with a full capacity crowd. Everyone else is like 10, 15, 25%. And they are, Texas is, like you said, they're wide open.
If it feels weird to you, it's probably because like, you know, it's wrong. Like I watch a lot of things that feel weird right now, right? Like just even from like a celebration or an Easter celebration that you saw somebody was having. But you got to think that they're in a little bit of a different position than we are. Like all adults are being able to get vaccinated there, you know, like
in some areas. Yeah.
In some areas, they're vaccinating like 3 million people a day, a week or a day.
I think they did. It's either 3 or 6. The states did 3 or 6 million vaccinations over a 48-hour period. Wow.
Yeah, and so you know, it's
weird, man. Like it's weird that. Sorry to interrupt, Chalmers. It's weird that down there they're doing the vaccines 24 hours a day, right? They're in giant ass parking lots for the most part. You wheel up, a nice member of the National Guard hits you with a jab, and you're on your way. Whereas up here, it's like we're open from 10 to 10:15 every other Thursday. And Wanya, you can probably leave your house next March of 2023.
Well, we have no supply.
Yeah.
And we have no production. Like the States has got its own production line and they've got the military to disperse it.
Yeah.
It's
which
crazy.
we had a military.
You just hear stories of like they're just like having like ads every weekend being like, oh, we got like 5,000 open appointments for this weekend.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I dream of that day. I've never wanted a needle more than I want one right friggin' now.
Clearly, you've never done heroin.
Clearly, I have not, because I'm watching this game and like, while there's just so many thoughts in my head, like, hey, is this safe? Is this responsible for them to be doing? Like, I don't know. And so that part of it, I almost want to leave out of my brain. There is like the tiny part of me that goes, man, I'm jealous because I want it to be safe to do that up here. I don't know if it's safe in Texas, but I want, once it's safe in Edmonton, I want that barn filled for playoff games, but I know it's not really happening.
I turned the game on.
Yeah.
And I just started watching it and I wanted to see what my like organic feeling was going to be. And you know, my feeling is I'm not as much like rattled or scared that they're all doing this. And I would like to see like what, 1 million people in Texas and like, let's say Dallas are coming back to infections, blah, blah, blah. I'd like to know their rates the same that would result here. What it really makes me think is I just looked at a big section of that crowd. Nobody's wearing masks. I was always worried things weren't going to go back to like as normal as they were.
Oh, they'll go back to normal before they should. Dude, probably.
They are. There was a whole section of people. Not one was wearing masks. You look right now, they're just showing from behind the pitcher, behind the dugout, restaurants packed. You look up, I see one mask in about 2 masks now in about 80 people. Yeah. Like, so it does give me that feeling that like, hey, so, okay, we are going to go back to normal. And, you know, you got to like, there's a lot more people there like that are vaccinated than here. So we can't be putting that in the same realm of thinking as we have here, because here, unfortunately, it's just an utter embarrassment as to what we're living through right now. And, you know, it is what it is.
Chalmers, did you know the average person eats a credit card worth of plastic every week?
I did know that. You know what? I had learned that was from a show I had just watched. What show was that?
Was it a late night show?
Yeah.
Did he mention it in the monologue?
John Oliver. Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, it wasn't John Oliver.
Sure
was it Stephen Colbert?
No, it was John Oliver. He did a whole thing on recycling and how basically like nothing gets recycled because of things called wish cycling, which is like in one bag. If I threw away in one bag of my recycling outside something that couldn't be recycled and the guy threw it into the truck, he would take a mental note and that whole truck is now got to go to the dump. It wouldn't even go to the recycle place. You know, that's basically what they're saying. Like, so if a guy has a bag, he's not going to pull out everything that can't be recycled. But if he sees like an umbrella or something that can't be recycled in your garbage, and he puts it in the truck because he's got a job to do and he's got a time limit to do it in, he now knows that he can't take that right to the recycling plant. He has to take it to
wish cycling. That is funny.
Wish cycling. Yeah. It's really
greenwashing, right? I learned about that. It's like the amount of paper cups you could get from Starbucks versus buying a stainless steel, quote unquote, reusable mug. It's like 2,000 paper cups worth of energy. And most people will use that stainless cup for 6 months and then throw it out. So it's like way better for you to use paper cups.
Really?
It's called greenwashing.
You said like stainless steel mug for 6 months, but like, what if I'm the type of person who will use it for like 2 years, right? Then
but even still, then you're basically net breaking even, right? Like an electric vehicle, the best thing you could do for the environment is not buy a new car for 10 years, regardless of it being electric or not, because the amount of energy required to make a car is so immense.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of those arguments, you know, like, and I do agree with a lot of them. But I also know that every single morning, my kids use a metal straw for their smoothie, and we've probably not thrown away, you know, 4 or 5 of those 500-piece things of
but you best use that straw until the boys are 40. Otherwise, it's just a net zero game.
Well, I don't know. What if everybody does it? Don't you think?
Well, I ain't using metal straw.
Don't get me wrong.
Fuck that shit.
Save the turtles one. Yeah, come on.
One day, mark my words. One day there will be things like hopefully. No, but there'll be robots that will be, their job is to harvest trash. And there won't be wish cycling and shit because it'll be automated. And they'll be like, oh yeah, we have a whole bunch of robot drones out cleaning up all the garbage again. And we had to send a robot drone out to the middle of the ocean to recycle all that plastic. Recycling will become the new mining of the future.
Do you think we could do some sort of integration into a house into that? You throw something into a garbage can and it will separate it itself. It's got to be like a whole mechanic. It's got to be something. It'll be like $20,000 to get it installed in your house, but you like put it in your house, it'll do its job and it will just like take itself out and somebody will just come collect it out of a
Well, you got to think
like on your
you got to
street?
think it's going to be what's harder to do? Go like do giant strip mining to get aluminum, or go to a landfill from 20 years ago, pop it back open, and go mine all the aluminum out of there. Like, I don't know.
I don't think you're wrong with that take, Wanye.
Is this on the air? Because God damn it, this is some very interesting recycling talk.
Well, and how did we get here? That's what I'm.
How do we get anywhere?
It's real life, man.
I know.
It's real life.
We're talking about tonight, though.
We were talking about a Blue Jays. Oh yes. I'm happy there's hockey tonight.
We still have another interview. Wink, remember?
Yeah.
Don't forget.
I keep forgetting how grateful I need that I need to feel that there's a hockey season being played right now.
Yeah.
But being used to watching a game every other night in the last 2 months has been amazing, and I've formed like an expectation around it, which I got to try to adjust. It's like not having hockey in the last 2 weeks, we haven't had much of there's hockey. So I'm amped up for the game tonight.
Well, dude,
Really
don't kid
amped up
yourself.
for it.
There is a chance this season might get recanceled, right?
Oh my God.
Don't kid yourself.
Oh
If
my
they
God.
can't get everybody into a bubble, man, how many teams do you need to be Vancouver before the league is not viable? 4?
Here's what I'll say.
Overreactionary Wanye here coming out.
I haven't been wrong on anything so far this pandemic, Chalmers.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe 1 or 2.
What?
So I
don't
think
remember.
you have to make. You have to make the quiet assumption, because it's really toned down as of late, that U.S. players have been quietly vaccinated.
A lot of, according to Frank Saravalli, a good chunk of them have. And Dallas right now. So Dallas.
I'm surprised the
had their head coach.
Canucks aren't, to be honest with you.
Well, and that's where I'm going with this is the Dallas Stars, their head coach tested positive, and the team came out and said, well, he's vaccinated. Majority, if not almost all of our traveling party is vaccinated. How is he positive? And Rick Bowness even said it's probably a false positive here, but I sat out because of an abundance of caution and all that. So I think there will be, the reason I don't think the season will get canceled is I think over the next month and a half year, they might just find a way to sneak, and Jason Greger brought up the point.
What about the next
radio.
10 days, though? That'd be my point, right? It's this is moving very quickly.
But it's not moving from any other teams. They have closed off the Canucks and told every other team to keep it tight for the next while here. But what Jason Greger said was, if you're the Canadian government or if you're the NHL, why not go buy a bunch of vaccines, vaccinate the traveling parties and the players, just to sit there and say, listen, for a lot, as much as it's, jumping the queue, and there is going to be an argument against doing that, there's another part of it that how much of the population benefits from getting to watch hockey. And when when a lot of the country shut down and people can't do much, there's something to be said for the general well-being of the public to have something to look forward to and to have this form of entertainment. And at the end of the day, are there probably some people out there who could use the vaccine maybe more than the 30-year-old in great shape playing in the NHL? Sure. But is sacrificing 300 vaccines to the NHL that big of an issue? I don't know.
Well,
maybe I sound like a
it's not
dumbass
a
saying
sacrifice. It's not. It depends. Because the States is obviously sitting on just so much vaccines right now that the NHL could probably just send some directly to the teams to be administered.
Well,
right? So
now you're
they're
sending
not actually
things around though and bypassing protocols and shit. There are going to be people out there. They're like, well, why are you saving the Canucks and not the Symphony or the people who really need to be saved, which are strippers? I don't know if you guys are paying attention. Showgirls burned down during the pandemic. Where are those people working? Nowhere.
Well, I just think that you have to look at it on a larger scale of how much of the public is invested in Oilers hockey, NHL hockey, take it in
versus strippers.
Well, yes, that. And it's a huge industry that does some, I think, mental health well-being for society. I don't know.
I don't disagree. 0%. You're saying what's the likelihood the 2021 season gets scrapped today? Yaremchuk, you're saying 0?
Not zero.
I say very low.
I say less than 10.
Okay.
The minute
that's still crazy.
The only wild card that's not contained right now is the North Division, because the teams aren't vaccinated. Where in the States, I'm pretty sure you could assume they all are.
I would hope to God they're all vaccinated now. This is too close for comfort.
It's just getting out of the North Division, right? So
did you turn it on?
If they can stay safe, that's your only risk.
Dude, it's wild. It's wild. They keep showing the whole arena. It is wild.
What, the Texas Blue Jays game?
Oh yeah,
it's nuts.
I hate baseball so much, but I'm going to do it. Turn it on right now.
Sports Network. Yeah. You're going to see Mike Fultonevich going up against Steven Matz, a pair of reclamation projects.
I'm already
on the bump
asleep.
Today.
I'm already asleep. I just don't give a shit.
Okay.
Jay and I saw the World Series trophy be awarded Yaremchuk live, and I was bored.
So I'm going to assume you aren't tuning into Blue Jays Nation Radio with Cam Lewis and Tyler Yaremchuk. New episodes every Monday. Brought to you by Twig and Berries. Which ties in nicely. That's the second podcast Twig and Berries is sponsoring. So shout out to Twig and Berries. And what are they doing with all of this great content? Well, they also have a new website and it looks incredibly sharp. It they got a little ticker going that tells you free shipping in Canada on orders over $100. They have some new arrivals as well, including a shirt and hoodie combo, which is a truck dragging a trailer. I think there's some kegs in the back as well. And the shirt says out of office. I think that's hilarious. A good shirt to wear in the summer while you're camping. twigandberries.ca is the website. Proud sponsor of the Real Life Podcast and Blue Jays Nation Radio. And the promo code Nation15 gets you 15% off.
Look at these idiots watching their baseball. They love their baseball.
The best part is...
Would you risk it all for a Texas Rangers game? Would you risk it all?
Well, just what I was going to say on this. One, in the past, I don't think this game would be sold out. Also, the Texas Rangers are one of the worst teams in the league. So I think a part of this is people just probably being excited they're allowed to pack a stadium in Texas and going to the game because the team's absolute dog shit. And it's a Monday at 2:00 in the afternoon or 4.
If there's anybody smug or Chalmers, then these people I'm seeing right now sitting in the stands, obviously obese with comorbidities out the wazoo, confidently sipping on a Pabst Blue Ribbon with a shot in their arm. USA.
The one thing I want to add before I get to our interview here, it looks like on one of the drinking tables, which has 6 people sitting around it, none of them wearing masks, there's a tub of Lysol wipes. So that's what we needed in there. No one has to wear a mask or anything, but
this is the crazy
wipes.
thing. This is the crazy thing. Probably 10 to 20% of that stadium is vaccinated. Mm-hmm. And they still don't even know if people who are vaccinated can carry or transport the virus.
Why do you think only 20? Why do you think only 10 to 20%?
Well, I don't think they're maybe 30%.
Well, if you're not counting kids, because I don't think
they're fully it's not like that. It's not like they're fully through vaccinating the whole country. They're just they've got good momentum right now. But I think I still think there's quite a lot of work to do on that front. So I don't think it's as vaccinated as we might think it is, which is really crazy when you see it like that.
I was going to throw to our final interview here of the podcast. If you haven't noticed recently on the Oilers games, Meaghan Mikkelson has been doing some fantastic analysis on those broadcasts. The 3-time Olympic medalist, still training to be in the next Olympics, still training as a professional hockey player. She is also a mother, like I said, top-notch analyst as well. She does a lot of things and she doesn't have a lot of spare time, but she let me know that on her drive up to Edmonton to do the game, she could chat Oilers for 15 minutes. So I had a good time catching up with the Meaghan Mikkelson. Here is that conversation. Joined now on the Real Life Podcast by Meaghan Mikkelson, 3-time Olympic medalist. I think it's the first time we've ever had an Olympic medalist on the podcast. But Meaghan, appreciate you squeezing us into your busy schedule.
Of course. Happy to be on. Thanks for having me.
Going to chat a little Oilers, going to chat a little bit about the women's game as well. But first, Oilers fans have gotten a chance to see you on TV recently here. What's it been like getting a chance to do that and work with Sportsnet a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's been exciting for me. When I first got the phone call, not going to lie, I was really, really excited. Obviously, I grew up in St. Albert, just outside of Edmonton, and grew up as a young kid going to Oilers games. And I would go to the games early, and I would be down at the glass for warm-ups watching the players. So I've always been an Oilers fan and have followed the team very closely. So when the opportunity came up, I was really, really excited. And obviously, the Oilers are a pretty exciting team to follow with the amount of talent and skill that they have. So I've really enjoyed being, on the panel. Gene's been amazing. He's always made me feel so comfortable. And Jack and Louis are great as well. And same Bob Stalker. So it's been a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to the game tonight.
You kind of mentioned how much fun it is to talk about this team, and it's so easy when you got Connor and McDavid and Leon Draisaitl out there. Like for me, I think analyzing a game, there should really never almost be like a blank point in your head. The default should just be, well, show me the last thing Connor McDavid or Draisaitl did, and it's easy to riff about it.
Yeah, that's for sure. You always have those guys that you can lean on, and it's amazing watching them, honestly. Being an analyst and analyzing their play, I think a lot more deeply than I have watching them as a fan. You really, really come to appreciate all that they bring. And as well, they're both players, obviously, going into every single game. They always have a target on their back because other teams know how dangerous they can be, and they just continuously find ways to still, contribute offensively. And Connor's been taking a little bit of a beating lately, I think, on the ice. Teams are being more physical with him, but he's being physical right back. So I can't say enough about the appreciation that I have for those two players. I mean, as a fan, as a hockey player myself, but as an analyst, and just seeing how every day, every game, they have to be adaptable and continue to find ways to put the puck in the net.
Talking about the analyst role, is that something you've always been interested in, like throughout your playing career here? Have you always been like, I'd like to get into TV, or was it something that you never really thought about till it was sprung onto you here?
Well, honestly, as a player myself, I've always been a bit of a video nerd. I'm always, watching tape, analyzing my own game, playing against other teams. I watch their video before games. So analyzing the game is something that comes pretty naturally to me. Even if I'm just sitting at home watching a hockey game, I find myself automatically going into that kind of analysis mode. I think I always will. I can't say that it's something that I said I wanted to do for sure, but now that I've gotten a crack at it a couple of times, I love how challenging it is. I love that it's something, obviously, that I'm very passionate about, the game of hockey, and analyzing it as I have, for many years now. So, like I said, it's not something that I particularly thought I wanted to do before, but I'm definitely interested in continuing to pursue the opportunities moving forward.
I have a couple more Oilers questions I'm going to throw your way towards the end here, but I want to chat a little bit about the women's game and the state of the professional women's game. We had Haley Wickenheiser on one of our other networks podcasts a couple of weeks ago, and she gave me the sense that, the whole two-league thing can't happen, that for the sport to really take a step forward, it needs to go on to one league, and there needs to be, proper support as well going to that one league. Is that a opinion you share as well? Do you think the two leagues maybe does more harm than good for the women's game?
I definitely agree with that. And Haley, she's been around the game for so long. She's probably played in every league that we've ever had. I would be lying if I said I wasn't frustrated about the landscape of women's hockey right now. It's been a tough few years. We were all shocked when the CWHL folded. But I think if you look at what the PWHPA and Jana Hefford and her entire team have done, they're really trying to get us in a position where we have a viable playing option where females can play hockey professionally and not have to worry about working. We have girls they're firefighters, they're lawyers, they're engineers, and they're working full-time jobs and then trying to play hockey as well. But I personally don't see two leagues working. We need one league and to get everybody on the same page moving forward for the future of the game.
So let me throw this hypothetical at you, and I'm very interested to hear what you'd say to this. Let's say 5 years down the road, what's the best case scenario in your opinion? Like 5 years, what's the perfect state of the women's game? Where could it be in 5 years?
Best case scenario is that there's one league that is operating with the assistance of the NHL. I think in order to get a league up and running, that's what we need. I think that it would be ideal to start with, kind of how the NHL started with the original six, to have an original six female team. But a big reason why none of the leagues that we've had haven't worked is because we haven't had the marketing and advertising power to get fans in the stands. If you look at women's hockey in in Olympic years, there's the Sochi gold medal game in particular, there were 13 million Canadians that tuned in to watch that game. That's over a third of Canada at the time. So, the fans are there. People are interested. These are the players that will be playing in that league, is Canadian, U.S., and even the top European players. Those would be the players playing in this league. So the fans are there. I just think that we need the support of the NHL to get it up and running and going, and then just try to keep building from there.
You mentioned the Olympics there, 3 medals for yourself. On a personal level, the goal for you, is it still to be there to try grab a 4th in the next couple of years here?
It is, yeah. So we have a camp coming up with the national team in 2 weeks. It's a selection camp for the championships, which are taking place in Halifax in May 6th to the 16th. So a big camp coming up in a couple of weeks to play the World Championships, and then I will play in 2022.
What's the last year of training been like? Obviously, goes without saying, the pandemic has thrown a wrench into things, but how have you kind of made it work? What's sort of the last 12 months been like as you guys keep preparing?
Yeah, I think it's been a hard year for sure, and I know that it has been for everyone, and we keep saying it, but there's been a lot of, you hear a lot of different stories out there that just kind of put things into perspective. I'm healthy, my family's healthy, and I'm still able to train and to practice. It's been a tough year with the national team. I think now we've played, maybe 6 games total at the camps that we've had. So we barely played any games. It's been a lot of practicing and a lot of training. So I think that we're all definitely itching to play. It's funny hearing a lot of the players last week talking about sitting in a hotel room and waiting to go to the rink and waiting to play and being bored. Like, I know exactly what that feels like. I've spent 3.5 weeks in a hotel room total this year, sitting around waiting to go to the rink. So I know what those guys are dealing with in that respect, but I think I would share, the mindset that you just take it one day at a time. You really can't control everything that's happening and, what's being thrown at you on any given day. You show up every day and you try to work your hardest, be the best person and teammate that you can be, bring the best effort that you can, and just focus on the things that you can't control. But definitely itching to play a hockey game. I said to Gene, I think I say to him all the time in warm-ups, I'm like, you hear the music and you see the players skating around, I'm sitting up here waiting to analyze the game, and I'm like, I just want to play. I just want to go hop out on the ice. So it's been a tough year for sure, but at the same time I've had the opportunity to spend time with my family too, so thankful for that as well.
Let's wrap it up with a little bit more Oilers talk here. One of the big topics around Oilers Nation has been McDavid, Draisaitl. Can they play on the same line? Does Tippett need to keep them separated come playoff time? That's my take. I think, listen, when you want to beat up on Ottawa and Calgary and Vancouver with that duo together, you can do it. But in a 7-game series, I just don't see how you can win it without depth. What's your take on that? Can the Oilers win in the playoffs with those two on different lines, or with those two on the same line, or should they split them up?
I think it's highly dependent on how the game is going, the flow of the game, how other players are contributing. And Dave Tippett talks all the time about how it's all about maximizing players and their potential and what role they fit into in any given game. And all situations are different. So, I don't think that there's an answer. Should they be together? Should they not be together? I think it's highly dependent on the game and up to the coach to kind of read, what the players need, what kind of energy they need. Do they need a goal? Are they up by 3 goals? Do they need to defend better? I think it's highly dependent on the situation, but I think Bob Stauffer, he referred to putting Connor and Leon together as the nuclear option. And it's an amazing tool to have in your toolbox to be able to split those players up and, they can be successful on their own and then have the opportunity to put them together. And for teams not to know what Dave Tippet's doing, what he's deciding to do with those guys, and what they do when they're on the ice together or not on the ice together. So, even tonight, going into the game, it'll be interesting to see with the flow of the game how things kind of play out, and whether or not they end up back together. So, yeah, like I said, I think it's highly situational.
I wanted to get your take on Mike Smith as well. You're someone who played the game at the highest level, and a lot of times we'll hear, fans and media debating a guy like that. They call him a battler, and they say his energy rubs off on the rest of the team. You see him fist pumping after big saves, glaring at guys when they give up a big goal. For you, is there something to be said when you're on the ice? Can your goalie give the rest of your team an emotional bump the way some people speculate Mike Smith does?
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, as a player, as a defenseman in particular, knowing that you have a goalie behind you that plays with that amount of confidence and intensity and passion, that's something that you feed off of. And something, that they're playing that hard for you, and you want to play that hard for them as well. I look at Mike Smith and his confidence level, and I automatically think of Shannon Zabados, who's from Edmonton as well. She plays with that same level of confidence. Definitely is something that you feed off as a player and as a team, and it can bring so much energy, even though, he obviously doesn't have a letter, in terms of being a captain or an assistant, but he's 100% a leader on that team and just bringing that energy. I've heard he's a very vocal player in the room as well. I think that's pretty powerful to have in your net for sure.
Meaghan, can't thank you enough for joining me here today, and I look forward to seeing you on Sportsnet some more times for the rest of the season here.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
There you go. That is three-time Olympic medalist, two-time gold medalist, Meaghan Mikkelson, wrapping things up on the Real Life podcast.
I've seen her play live, Mikkelson, Meaghan, and probably one of the best skaters I've ever seen.
I think, in terms,
strong skater.
If you put together a team of the best female hockey players this country's ever produced, she's up there. And she's a local 100%. Product as well. I remember her mom used to substitute teach some of my classes when I was in junior high, which is an odd connection to just randomly make. But that was a really good chat. Interesting. She, the whole, you can't have this 2-league thing in women's hockey. I thought that was really interesting as well. And I liked what she said about how Mike Smith, she compared him to Shannon Zabados in that, that fiery personality and the way they get fired up in a game rubs off on the rest of the team. I thought she gave some terrific insight in that conversation. That's going to do it for another episode of the Real Life Podcast, episode 270, brought to you by Oodle Noodle, with a special shout out to Twig and Berries and Manscaped. Our friends from NAIT as well. Whoa, I almost knocked over my mic onto my laptop. If you want more info on the folks from NAIT, seasonticket.ca is where you want to head there. And shout out to Meaghan Mikkelson as well. Shout out to everyone who tuned in today. Big Oilers game against the Habs, 3 games this week as well. It'll be nice to have some hockey on our TVs on a regular basis. Thanks for tuning in. This episode is over.
Great job on making it through the entire hour of the Real Life Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from.